Hello, 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 my darlings. Thank you for joining me on A Slice of Life, A Slice of Life. Well, you're not seeing double, you're seeing my beautiful daughter, Reverend Evelyn Sanders Swafford, because I didn't think I should be on here tonight talking about my latest book, a glossary of healing and erasure words, a companion to Who Lived Here, Where Did They Go, because I want to talk about healing. And who am I to talk about healing without having a pastor? And you all are always making jokes about Jordan. You might want to open that thing called the Bible. You know how Wayne talk about me. I love you, Wayne. But let me just give you the first part of the book, if you don't mind. And then I'm going to talk to my daughter. Opening invitation, and then it says acknowledgement. So let me do the acknowledgements. This work stands on the shoulders of neighbors, elders, students, storytellers, and truth keepers who have carried memory even when maps went blank. Thank you to those who walk with me through history, who name what was lost, and who helped me believe the restoration is possible. To every reader holding this book, with care and curiosity, your presence is a part of the healing. With gratitude and with love to my family. Evelyn,
Yes.
I love you.
Yes.
And that's why you're here to help talk about the healing. Because right now, it's a healing needs to take place in these United States. How you doing, daughter?
I'm doing wonderful. I know I was coming on in an official capacity.
Oh, well, you know.
I thought I was coming on to support
whatever. Yes, that's good.
and talk about the book.
Yes.
Okay, so
Wayne is probably happy you're here, though.
Pastoral now. Okay, let me shift a little bit. I was going to talk about your glossary
and I still want you to do that,
and the genius behind it.
Yes,
words. How we hear words all the time. They get thrown around all the time in the media, the press, social media, in academia, and talking heads, pundits, podcasters, elected officials, and politicians, which are not always the same. Influencers. What else people call it? Thought leaders, faith leaders, say words often, but what is the meaning? What is the meaning behind the words that people are saying? And they may sound great, but then as they're practiced behind the words that you're saying. So I'm looking at beloved community, inspired by Dr. King, reflects inclusive, ethical, urban practice. So we'll hear people say, oh, the beloved community, we need to have a beloved community, but then we're not putting love, keyword
to keep
beloved,
the love, I beloved,
in the community to even instill, to even bring forth the beloved community. So I thought it was a wonderful, I think it is wonderful, not past tense, I'm going to say present tense. I think it's wonderful that you have this glossary of healing and erasure words, a companion to Who Lived Here, Where Did They Go, so that we can think about our words, what we're saying.
And you were there. You know why I got this book, because we were at the Roosevelt House in the Fair Street Bottom, and I went to speak with Reverend Jerome Banks, and there was a woman there. I had passed out papers, and I said, with these words on it, and she said, you know what? This paper has everything I want. When I said paper, baby, I can put it in a book. And I can, and that's what I did. So the open invitation is why words matter. Words have the power to bless or break, to reveal or erase. In the struggle to preserve the stories of displaced Black communities, language becomes both a weapon and a bomb. Let me say that again for the people in the back. Language becomes both a weapon and a bomb. Too often, neighborhoods like ours have been labeled with terms like blight. I said these words. These are words that I said. Right. I'm going to point at Jordan because I've used these words. Words like blight. Right. Words like slum or clearance. Cold, bureaucratic, words that stripped away dignity and made space for removal. Because you say, oh, that's a blighted neighborhood. Oh, look over there, da, 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 da. Just talking, because these are the vocabulary words. These are the words that other people have used, but these words are being used for a reason. But communities are not problems to be solved. Did you hear me? Let me say that again. Communities are not problems to be solved. They are families. They are rituals. They are memories and sacred ground. This glossary was created to reclaim the language of place, people, and power. It invites students, organizers, teachers, and elders to understand how words have been used against us. We get that every day. In 2025, you know what we talk about. I'm not going there today. And how we can use them to heal. We can take some words and use them to heal. You do not need a degree to use this book, but you do need memory. See, I remember 1900 Delaware Street. I remember that. You need love. I played handball on the building across the street. That was the thing to do. And the willingness to speak truth in public. Welcome to a journey through the vocabulary of justice. You see, I want this book not only to be used here in Atlanta, but I want it to be used everywhere. As we talk about the language of erasure, we talk about the language of, if you
part one, okay.
Part one, language of erasure. If you go to the next one, it talks about the language of restoration. And you know, here are the restoration. Here is the language of erasure, because this was in my vocabulary. This is what, ooh, look at this neighborhood. And that's what got me started. What got me started was riding down Northside Drive, which used to be Davis Avenue, Davis Road, or something like that. But anyway, Northside Drive, and seeing the houses. If I had done what God asked me to do, I would have, right now, instead of just having steps, but an opening of my work, you see my work with steps on it, I would have had the houses. I would hear God say, Georgia, go back and take a picture. But we didn't have phone pictures, cameras on the phone. I would have had to go get my Brownie or some kind of camera and take a picture. So I said, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And then one day, it was like the last house. I said, Lord, I got you. I'm gonna do it. And I went on with life and I don't have a picture. Okay, but there are pictures, but I don't have what he told me to do. So the last thing I was able to get were the steps.
Right. And that opened up a whole world.
Didn't it? With your help.
Yeah, because this people have really embraced this project and have been.
Tell them how you fixed me on that day.
Well, we were driving down, taking pictures.
When I want you to stop the car, though, and you said, "Girl,
yeah, coming down Northside Drive, going south Northside Drive to take the pictures." And he said, "There's the steps. I need to get the pictures taken." And he's like, I can't stop on Northside Drive.
I want to stop the car on Northside Drive.
Just put your phone out the window and just take multiple shots so that you catch something as you're going down the street. You'll catch something in one of those frames. Something will work out, and so that's how you got them.
That's how I got that iconic picture now. I don't have it on any of my books, but I do have it in some of my work. If you go on my site, who lived here, where did they go?
But I think what the image does is it captures your imagination. So the houses would have been great, to have. Yeah. They do exist somewhere, but the steps capture your imagination because you want to know where the steps leading. What was on the other side of those steps. So and you can imagine people coming up and down the stairs. So it allows us to imagine what was there and what could be there now. And so I think that opens up more of a conversation to imagine.
I like the imagine part.
Imagine the steps, and then when you explain people live there, then you go, oh, okay. Where
and
did
still,
they go?
they don't know what I'm really
Where
talking
they go?
about.
Right.
Because I heard people say, girl, I haven't seen any steps on Northside Drive. I'm like, yes, you have.
They're there.
They're there, and they're still there.
Yeah, they're still there. They're still there.
Near the, closer to the stadium. They're
right.
looking too far down Northside Drive, aren't they? People.
Oh, they may be looking on the other side of the connector, maybe? No.
Yeah, they're looking somewhere.
Going up that north?
I don't know, but we're talking about near the stadium, at the parking lot.
Yeah, right there.
And right there now where the new hotel
the Signy or something like that.
Across the street from there.
But it's kind of like near where the they tailgate now. It's
Oh,
like
yes.
a complex or something right there. It was right across from part of World Congress Center, right before you get to the stadium, going south on Northside Drive. So that's south, that's north, that's west, east side.
And let me
East side,
identify
Northside
that
Drive.
neighborhood. It's called Lightning. Reverend Jerome Banks. Let me make sure I say. Now, there are going to be some people that say, that's not Lightning on that side of the street. They're going to say, that's Vine City on that side of the street because it's on the edge. But the Lightning people identified it when it was Davis Avenue as Lightning. We're not talking about the new and improved and y'all new people to Atlanta. We're talking about the people who were living there when it was both sides of the Northside Drive, because it wasn't called Northside Drive. That was called Lightning. That area is called Lightning. Where the World Congress Center is, where the steps are still there. And thank you, Coco Dunstan, Mrs. Coco Dunstan, for telling me why those steps are still there. Would you like to know why those steps are still there? Why they haven't been able to get rid of those steps? Because that's a retaining wall.
That's right. Oh, that's right. Yeah, it sure is. Yes.
Thank you. And the Lord said, I'm going to give you one more chance, Georgianne, to do what I said. So I was able to get the retaining wall, which happened to have steps. And then the tiny story is Donzella Fowler, Mama lived up those steps, and I have gone up those steps to her house because it was a house at many houses at the top of those stairs, and one belonging to Reverend Jerome Banks.
Oh wow! Okay, so you have the history of being there. Do you think maybe that was what drew you to taking the pictures? Because maybe something from the recesses of your memory, of your soul, it was just like stirring in you. So I know that place.
Maybe so, because I don't know. But I don't know, because it was Donzella who had to remind me.
Okay.
She said, you know that was my mama's house? Well, you know how people remember
but I mean,
your mama's house.
You may have been conscious of that, but do you think maybe something would have been that was stirring inside of you? So I got to capture this image here because you remember something about it.
And maybe. I felt I wanted those houses because the houses meant something to me.
Okay.
And so that maybe part of it, that her house meant something to me. And so the houses meant something to me. And I just regret to this day that I didn't capture them. But there are pictures of houses, those houses still standing. There are maps, original maps of the homes that were there, but they weren't considered homes. They had all kind of terminology. So let me look at the language of erasure, which be the language of erasure would have these words. Now I know that you may not admit you've used these words, but you have at least heard these words. Words like blight, slum, urban renewal, eminent domain, clearance, gentrification, vacant, underutilized, unsafe, non-conforming, code violation, unstable neighborhood, problem area, high crime, incompatible use, derelict, obsolete housing, disinvested, low value zone, deteriorated. These are the language, that's the language of erasure. These terms have been used in city planning reports. No offense, but this is what they had to write. They said, oh, how are we going to write this up? Housing authority declarations. They use these same vocabulary words. Development justifications from the 1950s. Scholars, such as Minnie, does anybody know Dr. Minnie Fuller Love? I'm always sending love to her. I love your book. I love your work. Okay. Dr. Minnie Fuller Love wrote, and Kenyatta Yatada Taylor, both of them, have credited these descriptors for making systemic racism in urban planning. Because these descriptors, they cut into somebody's heart. You see, I grew up on 1900 Delaware. And when I took my daughter, I said, let's go find 1900 Delaware one time. It looked this small when I got there, but it was all gone. The whole building was gone. I went one time, the building had been burned, but I stood there and I remember as a little girl running up down the stairs with my bicycle and my little dog and all my friends. And I just, my building is still standing. But when I went back, the building was gone. It left a hole right here. I was like, wow. You know, they tore it all down. They tore down my building. And they've torn down most of Gary, Indiana. And I don't know about you, but they've torn down a lot of places. You see steps a lot, but don't you riding around and you see steps. What do we say? Somebody living there.
I did, yeah.
So you got some more words. What kind of words do you have?
I'm looking at the language of restoration.
Yes.
The reclaim, remember, revive, restore, resilience, sacred ground, cultural legacy, community memory, thriving, continuity, stewardship, collective voice, neighborhood pride, generational presence, beloved community, restorative justice, truth-telling, cultural dignity, reparation, homecoming. Healing terms have been embraced by memory workers, cultural organizers, and truth commissions. Influences include Bell Hooks, Toni Morrison, Joy DeGruy, and truth and racial healing and transformation initiatives to bring healing back to neighborhoods. When we're talking about neighborhoods and just language in general, calling things how we remember things, I think this is a good discussion to have about even as we look ahead to the future, the next generation, and how we speak about things that are happening now, that we use the proper terms for some of the changes and upheaval that even our country is going through right now, and things that are happening globally, that we use the proper words for them, so that we don't have a situation where we're not telling the truth about what's going on. And so looking at our neighborhoods and at communities, you want to tell the truth about what's happening. However, you don't want to do so in a way that is going to erase the community. So where a community may need to be cleaned, may be in trouble, may have some issues there. You still got to frame it in terms of people live there.
Yes, people live there.
People live in these communities.
Who lived here?
People live in these communities. So the question then, I believe it begs itself is, well, why is it trouble? Why is there blight there? Why does it look like it needs to be eminent domain taken, or why would you call it trouble if people were living in the neighborhoods? And what is it that people can do to make the neighborhoods better?
And it's the power of words.
Yeah.
A word. You remember as a kid, maybe somebody said something to you that has stayed with you, that one word. I remember I said on one of my shows that there was a teacher at Frayville High School that said I would never, here I am 83 years old and still talking about, he said I would never finish college.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Life and death is in the tongue.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, so when you put this book together, if the woman had not said, oh yeah, I need that piece of paper, do you think that you would have eventually gotten to a place to make a glossary? Or
no.
Let's start with that piece of paper anyway that you had. Where did you get those words from that were even on the paper? Like,
well, I was sitting ready to go and speak the night before, and I said, I need to get some words together. I think I'll get some words together that I don't know. It came to me to have some healing words because it's about. We're talking about healing. And I said, let's talk about the erasure words. So I went to Google, and Google.com got everything on it. And so then I got me a list of words, and then I said, well, I like these words, and yeah, these words, da-da-da-da-da-da. I kept on. I think I just typed this up. Now, this had nothing to do with this.
Right.
I'm just go, and I was trying to remember, you had to go pick up everything, then you go up to the Clark Atlanta's
The
print shop.
Right.
And I said, oh, I need to put this on a card. I was trying to put something on the card, a few
Right.
words on the card. I said, I think if they got the card, they could see the words, the good words and the bad words. And I said, that's what I do. But I couldn't get on the card. I said, oh, Georgianne, this is going to be so tacky. To me, this is going to be so tacky. But I'm going to go ahead and put it on 8.5 by 11. I'm going to staple it with an old-fashioned stapler. I'm going to fold it down, and I'm going to put it with the books that I had at the time. And when that woman said, this is what I need right here. Oh, my God. I was like, wow, Georgianne. I said, I need to put it in a book.
Okay, this is interesting. Liberation geography. Liberation geography.
Yes.
Okay. Footsteps painted on a pavement, symbolizing a reclaiming march. Okay. Expanded definition. Liberation geography is a framework developed by scholar Ruth Wilson Gilmore and others that explore how space, geography, and territory are not neutral, but are deeply influenced by systems of power, racial capitalism, and resistance. It emphasizes that geographic displacement, such as forced relocation, gentrification, or spatial neglect, is a form of social control. Interesting. Social control. Liberation geography seeks to map not only where harm occurs, but where resistance, memory, and healing take place. It asks who gets to occupy space, who is pushed out, and how can we reclaim geography as a tool for justice.
Yes.
Very interesting.
Very good. Isn't that good stuff?
I like that. So who gets to occupy space?
Yes.
Who is pushed out, and how can we reclaim geography as a tool for justice?
Geography is really important in this work.
Like growing up in Atlanta, it's looked the same for so many years, but even growing up, I did not know until I guess much younger, young adult years, what have you, that the connector wasn't always the connector. 7585
right.
had gone through some neighborhoods and split some neighborhoods for us to drive up and down with 7585.
So that we can divide some black communities.
You know, so it's like, so Auburn Avenue gets split.
Yes.
Because the connector is there. And Auburn Avenue, the history of Auburn, Sweet Auburn.
They did it in St. Louis. They've done it all over the United States. That was a public policy.
Yeah, a tight-knit community of African Americans. Their wealth and progress and progressive living and self-determination and our own systems in place there. But then this highway comes down the middle of the city and cuts it in half.
So to divide us.
We talk about liberation geography here. Who gets to occupy space, who's pushed out, and how can we reclaim geography as a tool for justice. So just things like that. We say, oh, this is great that we have a new building here, or new condos, or new restaurant or shops, or what have you. It's like, what did it take to get those? To get those things, or a new way, to move through the city and.
Because new and shiny is always exciting.
New and shiny is always exciting, right?
But we don't look at what did it do.
Yes, right. Yeah. What was the impact of having this new thing, built here, to have the look at the geography of things. And I like the work that you're doing with maps as well.
I love the mapping.
Your GIS mapping to see maps before and after progress, took place. It's I guess it's a hard line to walk, because you need progress.
We need
progress.
Like
your neighborhood needs a grocery store, right? It needs the cleaners, and it needs a place to be able to get your prescription filled. But then if you're rezoning something for that to happen, if you're taking up green space, or if it was two houses there that may have been needed to be, there were blight. There was blight there, but you move the blight out the way. Get it rezoned. Get it rezoned, and so then to get all these conveniences, but then how does that affect the memory of the place and who was there? So, as we're of course recording this in Atlanta, Georgia, which is. See, it's rapidly growing, for I guess at least a century now, and certainly since 1991, when it was announced that the Olympics were coming to Atlanta. It's never stopped growing. I believe it was 91. Yeah, 91. Yeah. You can correct me on
They
that
never
in the
went
comments.
home.
It was 91 and 92, but I believe it was 90. I believe it was 91. May have been 90, but somebody put in the comments what year was announced. But I think it was 91. So
we almost run out of time too.
Okay, so what I'm saying is that we have watching the way this city has grown, you know, since then, and then the new people who've come, who've made this place their home and have, you know, embraced, you know, Atlanta.
And we welcome. We're happy you're here.
And you look at, weigh that against what was here and what was before, and neighborhoods that were here before, and people that were living in certain places that are not living there now, and institutions and churches and schools and buildings and things that have had to move or been torn down. And how do you balance what was before progress or before the new Atlanta with the new Atlanta? Decisions have to be made, or that were made, to make some drastic changes.
So here you go. I have another book. It's called Who Lived Here, Where Did They Go? Our Streets, Our Stories, a Legacy Workbook for the Beloved Community. And I have this because this one has just lines in it, just blank spaces. Blank spaces, blank spaces, blank spaces. As a part of the healing, as you call out the neighborhoods, as you call out the names, as you name the stores, as you talk about the churches, as you talk about Big Mama, as you talk about who lived up the street, who lived down the street, what corner did you stand on, what light helped you cross the street, what lady gave you a sandwich in the evening, who brought you something. This book it goes along to help with the glossary. And so our time is running out because I don't try to go over, 18 minutes. You know, I try not to go over 18 or 20 minutes, but I do talk a lot these days, you know. But I was so glad to have Reverend Evelyn Sanders Swafford on to talk to you. But I have just one sentence I'd like to ask you. What is a word someone once used to describe your neighborhood and how did it make you feel? I want to leave you with that. What your neighborhood? Well, who said something about your? Look around your neighborhood first. What have you said about your own neighborhood? How about that? And what have others said about your neighborhood? And is there an opportunity for you to get and start your own workshop, your own reading groups, your own group, and find people that was in your neighborhood and get this little book? All these little books are like $7, or you make up your own. Just get you some paper and some line paper, put some lines on it, and have people, because people need to express. I have found, if you go to my site, Who Lived Here, Where to Go, you will see people speaking and being interviewed, and you can hear the pain in the conversation, and you can see the joy on their faces when they talk about their neighborhoods. You see, but where's that opportunity now? Some people just need that to help them. Because when I talk with Reverend Banks, and when I talked to what's the name at Delta Airlines, you know, I went blank, Donzella. Donzella talks about how they wish they could. She wished her mother had just had an opportunity just to talk about it. They were just displaced. And the book that Dr. Mindy Fullerlove has called Root Shock, just taking a root and just snatching it up out the ground. Yeah. And what that does to the root, to the ground, to everything.
Wow.
I thank my daughter.
Yes, and I think you touched on something about creating your own books. And writing. I feel that in this day and time that we are in, we need to write and tell our own stories and record our histories, our memoirs, our what we know, our skills, things that just our knowledge and our expertise. And that's what I try to help people do. I have my own YouTube channel. I have two. One is called Write Your First Book, and one is my name, Evelyn Sanders Swafford. But on the Write Your First Book channel, that's what I'm working with authors to help them write their first book. And you are my model. we both have written books.
Yes, we have.
But my goodness, this summer you did like 4.
I did 5. I did 5 books, all 5 of them.
She just got them done. Just got them done. Just sat down and got them done.
Just got them done.
So I'm like, hey, I have this news webinar Zoom coming up soon to help writers get their book ready by January 2026. Do not take your book idea into the next
No,
year.
no,
Let's
no.
get it done between now and early January 2026. So I would love to have you be a part of that. As you can check, go to my channel, Write Your First Book. I always check hers. You know, I'll share information with her. So you too can tell your story of your neighborhood and what you remember, what you know, and you can go back and take pictures there wherever you are in the world, because it's happening worldwide.
Yes.
And tell your story. So
and tell them about those pens.
Yeah, these are enamel pens, and one says Imago Day. We got the reverse camera going. It says Imago Day, Genesis 1:26, which is the Latin for made in God's image. And then I am made in God's image, Genesis chapter 1 verse 26 is the Genesis 1:26 collection, and I have those on boutiqueindigosoul.com. We got to be who God says we are.
Yes.
And so I wear the pins to remind myself, remind others, we're all made in God's image. You can get yours on that site. So thank you for having me on to talk about these. Now we want you to put in the comments what you think about the glossary and some words that we may not have mentioned that you may use. You asked them what do people call your neighborhood. What if you heard your neighborhood called? Put that in the comments. Anything else you want to see us talk about, put that in the comments so that we can know how we can come on and best serve you and share what we know and what we do. And we'd be glad to come back. Yay!
All right, yay! Oh yeah, y'all saw too many teeth. I don't do yay too much. Okay. All right though. But it's one thing about it. You know, see, here's what you got going for you. You know I love her, so that's a given. But you also know that I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.